I really appreciated Nicole's comments before. Great to have someone from the marketer outlook, and great to have someone put up the challenge of she hasn't seen or really have witnessed a good social CRM. So what I'd like to cover today is what is it and what does it involve? So first, hopefully most of you are comfortable with what a CRM is. So your contact list, your database of customers and contacts. So I want to take that and grow that concept quite a bit further. So what if on all your social interactions through all these channels, Facebook, blogs, Twitter, everything out in the real-time web, you are able to connect and bring in those contacts into a database, into a CRM that you can then communicate back and forth. But then let's talk reality that that can't live on its own. Because as a marketer, you do more than just social. You need to do email, hopefully mobile, getting in there, doing press releases, and that needs to live in one big entire sphere. Okay, let's look at that from the other side, that it's more than just my customers, it's really an entire community that I'm trying to connect with, right? Because I'm trying to grow my business more than just my current base. So I've got this whole community. Okay, here's an example. Let's pretend that I'm a cat lover. And you really need to use the word pretend here because that's not quite my stick. But out there, you know, I might love, you know, cute cat pictures and cat stories and all the different things around my cats, and I'd love to share it with that community. Well, if I'm World's Best Cat Litter, a brand, I want to connect with that community and relate to them and find ways to bring them into the brand. So from the customer's perspective, what do I want? We talk a lot about this in the social world, is meet my needs, right? And understand me, know what I talk about. And let's get more personal. What do I talk about? What are the things that interest me? Build trust around that, around me. And if you only see me in your Twitter stream passing by, you never learn about me, right? So unless you keep me somewhere and keep some history around me, you don't know me. And then provide me some value going forward. From the business perspective, how do I manage all this stuff? How do I monitor all these people that potentially touch me, talk about my brand, talk about my community, are within that, and systematize that and bring that in the system? About building trust, you might be different than you. Some people like email, others like mobile. So how can I have a real easy way for people to set what they want and retain that and let the system adhere to those preferences? Because if someone said no more than once a quarter and I start giving out deals once a week, I betrayed their trust. I no longer respect them, and they're gone. And I want to find a return on my investment here, right? We talk about that. Nicole just mentioned that. Paul's going to talk about that a little later on. I need a way to analyze that, and by having all that data in one place, we can do that. The heart of a social CRM is the ability to maintain these social profiles. This information and this knowledge around the people who have come in to the brand. Again, whether they're just lurkers or they are customers. And we want to take them all the way from these light social touches all the way through to become vocal advocates of the brand and share in the brand in sharing and amplifying the message. So up top in the diagram there is the concept of bringing all my identities together. I might be on Facebook, I might be on Twitter, I have an email address, I have a mobile number, LinkedIn, all these things, but I want to unify that so I know that you are that same person all across there. So as I keep all that history, I can retain it in one place. Anyone who out there who are data people, you know what the problem is in data duplication and that sort of thing. So we have to be able to solve that, job one. Also have to be able to have all these preferences. This conversation history across all the different channels, whether my consumer is talking on Facebook, on Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube. I want to be able to have all of that there to the things that impact my brand that I care about. Again, if I'm the cat litter company and they're talking about going skiing, not relevant, doesn't really matter to me, I probably won't keep that. Social influence. I understand all people are created equal, but as marketers we know some are more valuable than others. And under social influence, I want to know who are those people who have the most reach and who that if I connect with are able to amplify my message more than others. So that's a critical component to the social profile. Then we get into all these other layers around the core demographics. We bring in location data, important, so I want to know if they're near my brand locations, whether I want to reach out to them or not. We've heard a number of speakers talk about segmentation in your list. Well, on this social database, same thing exists, right? How often do they talk about me? How can I segment that to use later on? And then what they've told me and their preferences isn't always how they act. So having that behavioral activity known to what things they respond to, what things that they actually do, I want to know that and see how that varies. So let's do a quick run through of how a social profile can be used in a business and some of the key ins and outs to this. So first, and most importantly, is this social search. A lot of people call it monitoring. We happen to call it social search. The ability for you, for World's Best Cat Litter, to be able to set up these searches going across all things going on in the real-time web that impact their brand, that they care about. All the way from people posting cute little kitty pictures to people having problems and all pissed off about their cat mess around the house. I want to know that. I want to hear about that. I want to find those people. People I already have, I want to add that to their social profile. And we let's put in a sentiment engine so I know, are these positive comments? Are these negative comments? So this person overall, over time, I get an idea of how they feel about this area. I want a really, really easy way so that these consumers can let me know what's important to them and how to relate to them, how to connect with them, get their authority to connect with them in the way that they want to. Then I can follow that with some identification. Solving this problem of duplicate data, huge, really huge. If we don't do that, you're out of luck. With that, I now can understand all their social connections. Where else do they live in the social world? And what other ways can we connect with them and start reaching out in different ways? Here's where we start to put in some ratings to be able to put in how influential is somebody? Who do I want to connect? Do I want to go, you know, as in our business, I want to go after, talk to Chris, you know, the people in this room here, to be able to spread my word. In the pet world, you know, there are some leaders in that category. Who are they? Who talks the most? Who has the most contacts that I want to reach? And analyze that and build that database. So now I can start using all this data. as I'm going and building, and can do very, very targeted messages. As a marketer, I think this is a world you probably live in, I hope you live in, that the value of doing targeted messages, and now I know it on behavior, I know it on what they're talking, and I can reach them in a way that they want to hear from me. I'm trying to build trust. When we have one-on-one conversations, say it's customer service, or in a marketing speak, I now know more about them. I know if they had a tweet that they were ticked off about something, I have that history, whether it was this week, or last month, or last year. By having all that knowledge, because as a consumer, don't you expect the brand that you relate to know you? So by having all that data, we have it there. And then we're able to have this activity because we're putting these messages out to them, these targeted messages that are now trackable. And understanding who clicked on what, who looked at what video you threw out there, on what blog post you threw out there, what they actually viewed. Now when I look at their information, I know what they've responded to. And so we get some behavioral activity on the testing. Earlier this morning, there was someone up here that said, well, in the social world, it's hard to do A/B testing. Well, when you have data, you can segment or group and test this way because you have a database to work from. And then after that, the amount of analytics that you can do off of all this rich data is endless. What they clicked on, what their interests are, how it relates to each other, how you did A/B testing. These social profiles provide a wealth of information to be able to show your boss and go further. Okay, let's wrap up a little bit. So, foundation here is having a social CRM to work from, which helps you build respectful relationships. Huge on the whole idea in the real-time web about building trust. And we want to have respectful relationships with our consumers. Having deeper knowledge. And so I know what they're thinking, I know what they're doing over history. It's not just my recent stream and I make decisions on what I've seen flowing by today, but I have something to go back to. I can now really, really engage with people, true engagement over time, and understand how that's being done. And then the bottom line is I can measure. And it's on measurement that we grow, we adapt, and we move forward. I invite you that on my blog that I show here, have a lot of current conversations happening around this concept. There's a big moving target here. And we're very anxious to know what you people think about social CRM, how you see it evolving, and we're trying to use it to adapt and grow and to help all you marketers out there do a better job. So we're very interested to hear from you about this and would really like to help you out. With that, thank you very much for your time. Good luck with the cookies.